Grown-ups make it work for the kids. This is what Cody had to say to Christine on the first episode of this season's Sister Wives. The only disagreement I have with that statement is 1, you gotta be a grown-up, Cody, and 2, you actually have to give a damn about your kids. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Cody and his attempt to try to snatch custody away from Christine and why it will never work. Now, before we get into it, I would ask that if you're getting anything from the video or the content, that you would consider subscribing. It's easy to do. All you got to do is go down and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out. It helps me out. And hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So give me that HBO special, hit the subscribe button, and I'd appreciate it. And if you're already a member and you're already subscribed to the channel, think about sharing and liking the videos. And leave your take down below so I can hear what you have to say. All right, let's get it. Now, as we talk about Cody and his quest for custody over his daughter, Truly, then we also have to address the idea that Cody isn't necessarily trying to have a close relationship with his daughter, who, according to Christine and even according to Truly, has spent very little time at the house. Part of the complaint that Isabel had was that Cody would spend very little time at the house. Same thing with his other daughter, Gwendolyn, who is also in the same residence where Truly lives, that Cody wasn't spending a whole lot of time at the house. So you ask the question, and it begs the question, why exactly is Cody so interested in making sure he maintains some form of custody and has a custody arrangement and a custody agreement with a wife who he seldom spends time with, for kids that he hardly shows any interest in? So why is Cody so adamant about having time with the kids now? What could it be? What could it be? The answer is very simple. Cody wants to use custody as a means and method to maintain control over Christine. He wants to control her movement, and more importantly, he wants to cut her off from any money that she may have coming to her in the form of child support. When Cody first had the conversation with Christine in the first episode of this season's Sister Wives, he revealed that his greatest fear was that she was going to go to Utah and take all of his money. The only way that he's worried about them coming for his money is through child support, because now he has, supposedly, if you think about it, he has his name slathered all over Arizona on all kinds of property. The property that he owns on Coyote Pass, his name is on every one of those pieces of property. The property that he owns with Robin, his name is on that house as well. So all in all, Cody would average about $2 million worth of assets if you don't take away any of the liability associated with those assets. So Cody is primed to get roasted. So he wants to try to get around that. And one of the ways that he insists upon getting around it is proposing this foolhardy 50-50 custody agreement. First of all, 50-50 would only conceivably work if you actually had a relationship with your child. You would have to see your kid for 50% of the time. It would really help if you lived in a household with the child. So you can say, look, I have a history of dealing with the child on a consistent day-to-day basis. I'm going to miss them. They're going to miss me. And one of the key principles that you have to deal with when you're dealing with any family court is the sole principle of the best interest of the child. If you go to most family courts, hell, if you go to any family court in the United States, they don't give a damn how it affects the parents or how the parents are taking it. It's all in the best interest of the child. So that means that if it's in the best interest of the child for them to be with the mother, then they're going to live with the mom. The father, same deal. And 50-50, same deal, if it makes sense. In Cody's case, it doesn't make sense. You guys lived in the same state, and you didn't see your kid, you didn't see Truly. We're not going to call her the kid, we're going to call her Truly. Go call her by her name, holler her name out, put some spec on her name. You didn't go and see Truly 50% of the time. You couldn't. You got kids all over the place. You got 18 kids. You got 5 kids at Robin's house who you're dealing with consistently. You had 3 children over at Janelle's house who you don't really deal with, and you had 3 children over at Christine's house who you didn't really deal with. So the idea that all of a sudden now it's so important and it's so critical that you spend 50% of Truly's time with Cody doesn't make sense. Not to mention, how exactly would school work? Truly is going to be enrolled in school in Utah, so you cannot split 50% of the time for school in Utah and then 50% of the time in Arizona. So that in and of itself doesn't make sense. If you listen to him talk about it on this last episode, what he said was, oh, we'll come up with a 50-50 agreement and we'll work out the details later. How the hell are we going to work out the details? What are you talking about? Even if Christine had Truly for the entire school year and Cody had her for the summer months, that's still not 50-50. Now, 50-50 is a tactic and a ploy used in what Cody terms as the manosphere as a way for men to get out of paying child support. They think that it's some kind of back door, that if you have the baby 50% of the time and she has the baby 50% of the time, then the child support should be a complete wash. Because while the baby's with you, you're taking care of it. While the baby's with her, she's taking care of it. The truth of the matter is that if you really dig into it, even in Arizona, just because you have 50-50 doesn't necessarily mean that the child support is a wash. You can get child support from a parent even though you split the time evenly. Once more, you can technically get child support in a place where you live with the child as the father or the non-custodial parent. That's key. Non-custodial parent, you live with the child, and the custodial parent takes you for child support, which they have a right to do. You can still wind up paying for child support even though the child lives under the same roof with you. This is completely possible. Next up, you talk about like the control aspect. If you recall, there was a point where Christine was talking about what we're going to do regarding this house. I can sell the house, but then I was figuring we could keep the house. Gwendolyn, she wants to stay here for a little bit until she can find a place, and I'll bring in 2 roommates. I'll keep the upper part of the home for me and Truly. When we come back in, it'll make it more convenient. It'll be easier for us to come into town, and therefore you would have more access to your daughter. Makes sense? Makes sense. No. We could sell this house, and we can go ahead and put it on Coyote Pass. The money on Coyote Pass. What happened? I thought you was concerned about seeing your daughter. Now all of a sudden you're trying to sell a house out from underneath Christine and take the money. Because that's what it comes down to. You're trying to take the money. You want Christine to leave the marriage or leave your relationship with nothing. You want to take the asset that she bought and was buying, in the process of buying, you want to take that asset from her so she's walking out of the marriage with nothing. That's his way of trying to punish her. And she's smart enough, and God bless Christine for being smart enough to recognize, look, if I'm buying the house, this is my house. I paid for the house. I'm paying the mortgage on the house. Why the hell would I give you the money for the house? And what am I supposed to use to take care of your baby? Because as a man, why wouldn't you want to make sure that your child was provided for? Like, all the legalese aside, all the manosphere crap aside, all the, child support, blah, 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 all that aside, why wouldn't you want to make sure that your child was okay? Okay, you're moving to Utah. Where are you guys going to stay? You guys going to buy a house when you get out there? Okay, I want to make sure that the house that you're going to buy and the place where you're going to stay is going to be safe for my daughter. I want to make sure that Truly's okay. So is she okay with it? Instead of Cody sitting there saying, okay, yeah, let's make sure that we sit down and have a conversation with her so that we can both address this issue and let her know that we're both okay with this situation. We're both okay with this separation, and we're here for her. And even though we may not get along with each other, we're going to make sure that she's okay and she feels loved. See, that's what grown-ups do, because that's what Cody does. He mixes a little bit of truth in with a whole lot of bullshit, and he pretends as though he's actually doing something intellectually smart, or he's actually telling the truth, or he's looking out for somebody else, when in essence, he's only looking out for himself. All right, now, we're going to run through some of the lies that Cody was mentioning. The first lie he said is that, oh, she can't leave with her. That's not legal. She can't legally take her out of the state. Christine can't legally take her daughter out of the state. Cody's name doesn't even appear on the birth certificate. How you gonna stop her from taking her daughter out of the state? She's lived with this woman her entire life. How are you going to step in and say, oh, she doesn't have a right to take her where she want to take her? She can't live with her anymore. because it's going to affect my money. Cody. If you go to court and you tell a judge that the child who has lived with this woman her entire life can't live with this woman anymore because it's going to affect your money, you are going to get destroyed. The judge is going to I tell you what, you know what's going to happen? The judge is going to pull out a loaf of Stroman bread. He's going to open it up. He's going to pull out a little plate, put some chips on there. He's going to have a little juice, and he's going to take them 2 slices of bread. He's going to put them right around your behind, and he's going to eat your ass alive. I'm telling you, there's no way, dude. You're going to get destroyed. If you go to court and you try to tell them that it's about your money and she coming after your money, they're going to eat you alive, especially because Christine is the one who's been doing it. She's the one that's been doing it. So why would you want to interfere with that? If she steps in and says, hey, Cody, I'm trying to be reasonable. I want to work with you. She could have just packed a bag and took Truly out of town without even telling you. She ain't got to ask you nothing. Your name ain't on nothing, bruh. She don't have to ask you nothing. She's trying to work with you. She's trying to talk to you. She's trying to keep that relationship going. That's the most mature response you can have in this particular situation. That is a grown-up thing to do. He's trying to tell her that she's not a grown-up because she's not doing what he wants. No, her not doing what you want because that's what you want is childish. Her acting the way she's acting in the best interest of her child is not only the grown-up thing to do, it's the responsible thing to do. It's what you would expect a mother to do, and a court is going to reward her for doing that. You are not acting in the child's best interest. You're acting in your best interest. And if in family court, the only interest that matters is the child's, if you go there and you are coming off selfish, then your time, not only are you not going to get what you want as far as 50-50 custody, but your time might actually get limited because what you're demonstrating is that you aren't taking your child into consideration. And by you not taking the child into consideration, you set yourself up that you can get your visitation limited, you idiot. So you make sure that you work with her. 2, don't tell lies to try to scare her, especially things that are easily verifiable, because that creates animosity in this situation. Telling her that she can't legally take the child out of state. Telling her that if she doesn't agree to a 50-50 custody order, then the state will automatically come in and make sure that they take ownership of your child. That is never the state is not doing that, Cody. The only way the state is going to step in and take your child is through a CPS procedure where they're coming out making sure that the child is safe. And if the child is not safe or in a safe environment, or the people that you have coming out are posing a danger to the child, whether both parents or somebody you're hanging out with, if that's the case, then the state, and only then will the state have a hearing, and they'll take your child and remove your child, and then you have a hearing. They don't just automatically take your kid because you don't have a custody agreement. If that was the case, they would already own Truly because you don't have a custody agreement and you aren't legally married. So what are you talking about? And the idea that, oh, if you go and try to talk to a lawyer, then the lawyer's going to take all your money and the court's going to take all your money. Why would the court take all your money? Why would the lawyer take all your money? That makes no sense. If anything, a lawyer is going to, if she goes to see a lawyer, which is dumb, why would you even suggest a lawyer? If you're afraid for your money and she's not talking about taking you to custody court she's not talking about taking you to support court, why would you even bring a lawyer up? Why would you even bring a court up? If you're afraid of her coming in there getting your money, why would you even talk about courts and lawyers? Because if she goes see a lawyer, you know what the lawyer's going to tell her, Cody? The lawyer's going to look her in the face and say, Christine, you are doing a wonderful job as a mother. You making sure that Truly is getting everything she needs and she's provided for. But Christine, I'm going to be honest with you. Truly isn't just your responsibility. Cody is responsible for her financial well-being as well. And if he can't deal with her physically, he can be there for her financially. And to be honest with you, Miss Christine, I work on a financial basis. So lawyers deal in finances. If you want to say that a lawyer is rotten and evil and they're only focused on one thing and that's all, they're all about the Benjamins, baby. At the end of the day, Cody, they be about your Benjamins. They'll tell Christine, you give us $10,000 or at most $20,000 and we're going to take that out of Cody's ass in child support. They're not going to take her money. They're going to take your money. Because if you go down there, they're going to say, okay, well, since we're going down to court to file the custody agreement, we might as well walk across the street or go down to the prothonotari's office or up to the court administrator's office and file a complaint to get support as well. We might as well start both actions so that we can get everything out of the way and everything settled. And then you're going to get roasted. The next thing he said is, oh, we can't ever have a custody agreement in Utah. Everything must be done here in Arizona. You can't make that demand. The custody agreement follows to where the child is located. They're the ones who have this thing called jurisdiction. Jurisdiction, it's where the child is living. Say while she's living in Arizona, she goes down and does exactly what Cody wants. She files for the custody agreement, they file for it, and everything is settled in Arizona. Then she moves to Utah. The moment she tries to go back for a modification, they ask where the child lives. The child lives in Utah. Where's the child go to school? In Utah. Where's the child's home at? In Utah. So they say, you know what? We don't have jurisdiction over this matter anymore, and they send it to Utah. Now, all in all, anybody was in this situation, Cody, Christine, anybody, I would suggest that you try to work it out without having to go to court, without having to put an order in place. If you can work it out like adults and you can come to the agreement that you'll work in the best interest of the child to where Cody gets his visits in when he wants to get his visits in, and Christine sounds like, and I'm not going to say I know her because I don't know her personally, but it sounds to me like Christine is trying to encourage you to have relationships with your kids. When I see Christine talk about Isabel or Gwendolyn or Truly, and she refers to her kids, especially in her kids versus Robin's kids, you can see the pain in her eyes and the pain in her heart when she realizes that you deal with Robin's kids on a consistent daily basis, but you neglect her children. And she wants you to have a stronger relationship with them because she understands that it's important to them. And because it's important to them, it's important to her. I'm not going to sit here and waste anybody's time or insult your intelligence by pretending that Cody wants a 50-50 physical custody agreement with Christine in order to see his child Truly. What I will say is that if Cody wants to have and maintain a positive relationship with Christine and have the ability to see Truly and maybe dissuade her from going to court, is to start by not calling her a liar while you're literally lying to her. I'm James, this is my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.